Hey everybody, it's Ben in Beta, and today I have a very quick update video for you. I was able to get my truck into service to have some of those things checked out that I had talked about in my previous video. My Android Auto issue, the fact that my tire pressures don't show up in the gauge cluster properly after the truck shuts down, and the issue with the DC plugs not working properly. So I kind of feel a little dumb on this one, to be honest with you, because this was a much easier fix for the DC plugs than I realized. But let's talk about this for a second. So first of all, Toyota of Colorado Springs Service Center was fantastic. They took really good notes, they really listened to what I had to say, and they really tried to work through all the problems, which I appreciated. I did ask them to show me where the fuse was so I could replace it in the future, and this is why I feel kind of dumb. So it turns out you have your two USB-C plugs in here, which is great. You have your cigarette lighter plug as well. And for some reason, I thought this was a regular USB-A plug, but it is the 7.5 amp fuse, and the fuse was indeed blown. So all you really need is a fuse tool here and some 7.5 amp fuses to replace, and everything should work just fine. So anyway, that made me feel kind of stupid just for not pulling that cover off and assuming. That's what happens when you assume, I guess. When I was looking though, I actually took off all these screws. I looked on the other side of this to see if I could find the fuse. And I also looked under the hood for the fuse. And I also looked in the manual. And the manual told me, look underneath the hood. Look underneath the passenger side front. You could look underneath the back seat. And I was like, I don't know which one this is. I don't necessarily have all the tools to dig into some of those things. That's why I called service. So they didn't charge me for any of that, which I'm happy about. They replaced the fuse for free. That's cool too, but I'm definitely gonna buy some 7.5 amp fuses, so I just have them if it ever happens again. I think the biggest problem I see with these DC plugs is it should really have at least a 10 amp fuse, if not a 15 amp fuse, because if you try to run more than one item off of that, or if you try to have something that has a decently high power draw, I think it's gonna blow, which is unfortunate. They should have probably gone with a 10 amp fuse. That would have been nice. But at least that problem got solved. So as far as Android Auto goes, the tech looked everything over. I didn't feel like they could solve any of these problems, by the way, at the dealership. These seem like software engineering kind of things that need to be taken care of by that team. But they did try. So the tech said, well, you have to have Wi-Fi turned on. And I said, well, if I turn on Wi-Fi in the truck, it tells me I can't use Android Auto. And I showed him that, and he was like, huh, that's interesting. So the service tech talked to me about Wi-Fi and having that turned on. But if you go in here and I click turn on Wi-Fi, it'll actually tell me Wi-Fi may only be used while Android Auto is off. So that seemed to be not correct according to what he had found. So he was stumped. Again, they're gonna look at that and see what's going on with that case. The service coordinator also got in, and so he was messing around the menus to try to see like kind of what was going on with everything. You can actually have 3 different kind of configurations in the display. 2 of them are blank. Those are the ones that should have a tire pressure, but you can see that the other one does work, and you can see like the drivetrain piece there. We actually moved to the next configuration and it wasn't there anymore. I said, see, tire pressure's not there. You have to long press OK again. Then you have to come over here, and then you have to go over to the left, and it's blank, which makes no sense. Then you can go back to your tire pressures. So basically, anyway, that's where we left everything. When I left the dealership, they're gonna look into those 2 other issues, and hopefully at some point the software team is able to fix some of those things, and that benefits everybody. Again, it's not the biggest deal in the world because I can plug in my phone, and that's always gonna give me the best possible experience anyway. And they fixed the main problem, which again was this fuse, which I just feel stupid about, but that's where it is. And that's very convenient for if you blow it, but I'm definitely gonna be buying a bunch of those fuses to make sure that if we're out in the trails and it blows, I'm able to fix it right away. And just to verify that works, and now you can actually see that these are lit up. I think this one lights up too. So you can see that they're glowing on the camera. And so now I have power to that again. And this is great because now I can power my power station that can also then power the refrigerator if I want to do it that way, or I can power the refrigerator on the AC while we're running and then power the fridge this way and just keep it charged up. There's a couple different good options there. Either way, it'll work just fine, but it's nice to have both of those options again, and I appreciate that. It's also nice to have the USB-C plugs in the back if you need to charge something while you're hanging out on the tailgate or whatever. So anyway, that's the update and what happened at the service center today. Hopefully you found that helpful. If you didn't know that that fuse was there, now you do, just like me. I wish the manuals were better written in these things. They're like thousands of pages long, and then they don't actually even have the information you need, which I think is funny. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Feel free to share this out with other 24 Tacoma owners who might find this information helpful as well. But thank you so much for watching. Remember, live your life in beta, and we'll see you next time.